Cancel all debt. That's our headline for today's fourth stimulus check update and daily news update. The House just voted on the debt ceiling raise. Democrats want to get rid of the debt ceiling altogether. Some other debts that they're looking into, like the student debt and even rent and mortgage. And for our big finish, how big pharma is trying to get away from paying their debt to the country. Are we going to let them get away with that? Definitely not. We'll go through all the details in this video today. Hey guys, it's Ron here giving you guys the latest updates on your stimulus updates, stimulus timelines, as well as developments straight to your screen. If it's stimulus and money news that you're after, then this is definitely the right place to be. All right, so let's seal the deal with the subscribe button and make sure your notification bell's turned on. Oh, almost forgot. Just want to thank you guys for always hitting that like button. That one's for me and the channel, so we really appreciate it. All right, so the latest news is in. The House of Representatives just okayed the debt ceiling hike to last us until early December. Now, this vote is hot off the press as the House of Representatives just concluded their special session on it. The final vote went about as expected, party line winning 219 to 206. Now the bill is headed to President Biden's desk for his signature. Now, when asked about all the challenges facing President Biden's administration, White House press secretary said, "We don't get too glum around here, even if things get challenging. Our view and his view is to continue to press forward and address the challenges the American people are facing." Now, what do you guys think about how Biden's doing so far? Drop me a quick comment down below. Biden and his administration definitely have to press forward as a lot of challenges are still out there. The debt ceiling issue, it's far from over. In just a few weeks, December 3rd to be exact, we'll be right back to square one with both Democrats and Republicans still disagreeing about how to settle the debt ceiling increase. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell sent a letter to Biden at the end of last week with a warning. "I write to inform you that I will not provide such assistance again if your all-Democrat government drifts into another avoidable crisis. I will not be a party to any future effort to mitigate the consequences of Democratic mismanagement. Your lieutenants on Capitol Hill now have the time that they claimed they lacked to address the debt ceiling issue through standalone reconciliation and all the tools to do it. They cannot invent another crisis and ask for my help." Basically, Republicans led by Mitch McConnell, they want Democrats to raise the debt ceiling on their own because according to the Republicans, Democrats want to go on the spending spree with their proposals like the child tax credits, paid leaves, as well as Medicare expansion. More on that one later. But right now, I want to show you guys this clip of House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy explaining how the debt ceiling really works to himself.
When you raise the debt ceiling, that's actually paying for stuff that has already been spent.
Democrats have floated changing the debt ceiling process so there's not...
We can just spend more and more. Why they want to raise this is to spend more money.
When you raise the debt ceiling, that's actually paying for stuff that has already been spent.
Now we gotta admit, that's pretty funny coming from the same person. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is looking into the issue and suggested Congress may have to pass new legislation to make it easier to raise the debt ceiling. In particular, they're looking to allow Congress to essentially override the Treasury Department's determination that the debt ceiling has been breached. She said, "That seems to have some appeal on both sides of the aisle because of the consequences to people of not lifting it." A similar plan was done during the Obama years and was originally floated by Mitch McConnell. A growing number of Democrats are saying, why not take out the debt limit altogether? Now, it may sound ridiculous at first, but stick with me guys. It'll make a lot of sense in just a bit. House Budget Committee Chairman John Yarmuth and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen argue that members of Congress should not be able to use the threat of a debt default as political leverage ever again. Yarmuth last week joined Representative Brendan Boyle in introducing a bill that would transfer the authority to raise the debt limit from Congress to the Treasury Secretary. Pelosi called the proposal an excellent idea. Yellen explains it here. When Congress legislates expenditures and puts in place tax policy that determines taxes, those are the crucial decisions Congress is making. And if to finance those spending and tax decisions, it's necessary to issue additional debt, I believe it's very destructive to the President and myself, the Treasury Secretary, in the situation where we might be unable to pay the bills that result from past decisions. She's basically saying that all these spends have been decided on by Congress already, and she just wants the means to actually execute when they're ordering and more importantly, avoid all the Congress drama that happens with it year after year. Just look at all the catastrophes that we could avoid here. Stock market decline, mortgage rate rise, difficulty for businesses to raise cash that they need to fund their daily operations, loss of millions of US jobs, unemployment shooting to double digits, stock market losing up to a third of its value, $15 trillion. Saving us all that trouble definitely sounds like a good idea to me. But what about you guys? That way we can really focus on the more important matters. Top of all will be the stimulus package that Congress is cooking up right now. Now that the debt ceiling increase has been kicked down the road, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, "Senate Democrats will focus on passing the Build Back Better agenda so we can finally build up ladders of opportunity opportunity for people to climb up to the middle class, to help people who are already in the middle class stay in the middle class, to fight climate change and create the good paying jobs of tomorrow, and rekindle that sunny American optimism that has long been the core of our national identity. A lot of updates happening as a result. In a call with reporters on Tuesday, progressive lawmakers said that they would be willing to make compromises, but they still need to hear from moderate Democratic senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema about what they want to cut to bring down the price tag before negotiations go any further. Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal points out, we still don't have a counter proposal. Senate Budget Chair Bernie Sanders said, it is absolutely incumbent upon the senators and the few members of the House in opposition to start telling us what they want. We are prepared to negotiate. We are prepared to compromise, but we're not going to negotiate with ourselves. Now, as for where their heads are right now, Jayapal said, a majority of the members have made clear that they support the idea of keeping our 5 priority areas. If we need to cut some of them back to fewer years, we would be willing to do that. To be specific, they're talking about strengthening child care and elder care, investing in affordable housing, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, and Medicare expansion. Let's not forget about climate-related investments and immigration. Pelosi agrees and hopes that no programs will have to be cut, and instead the time frame for each provision could be reduced to cut the bill's cost. Now, drawing his line in the sand, Sanders told reporters that the expansion of the Medicare provisions in the package is to include dental and hearing, and is crucial to keeping the final version of the bill. But watch out, guys. Big Pharma's out for blood and investing some major money into convincing people that lowering drug prices is not a good idea. The pharmaceutical industry and its operatives are bankrolling more than $23.7 million in ad campaigns opposing direct Medicare negotiation and repeal of the so-called non-interference clause. Most likely you've seen some of these ads saying Congress wants to repeal a protection in Medicare that protects access to medicines, or Medicare negotiation proposals would enable government bureaucrats to limit which drugs patients have access to. Here's another one. Negotiation would reduce access and make it harder for people on Medicare to get the medications they need. Medicare negotiation will stifle innovation and discovery of new medicines. Medicare negotiation would import European-style price controls, would cost America thousands of jobs. Definitely not true, guys. Cheaper meds would actually help working class Americans gain more access to needed drugs. Price negotiation would push Big Pharma to give us better drugs at lower prices. And lastly, brand name drug companies could lose $1 trillion in sales over a decade and still be the most profitable industry in the nation. So trust that those jobs are not going anywhere. Here's Senator Bernie Sanders to explain the real deal.
In America, it is not the United States Congress that regulates the pharmaceutical industry. It is the pharmaceutical industry that controls the United States Congress. They never lose. They control the United States Congress. The American people have got to stand up right now and make it clear that no American should die because they cannot afford their medicine. What we want to do is have Medicare negotiate prescription drug prices. We're going to reform and expand Medicare, and I'll tell you how we're going to fund that. By having Medicare negotiate prescription drug prices with the pharmaceutical industry. What this bill does, among many other things, is tell the pharmaceutical industry we're going to end their greed. We are finally going to take on the greed and thievery of the pharmaceutical industry. The United States is the only major country that does not sit down with these drug companies and negotiate a reasonable price. Our people cannot afford the medicine they need, but these people year after year make outrageous profits. We are on the verge, I hope, of finally bringing about the first defeat of a very powerful pharmaceutical industry in the history of this country.
You've really got to watch out for sneak attacks from big business and big pharma like this, guys. Make sure you always get your information from reliable sources. May I recommend our channel right here? Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell already. Now, for our big push, canceling debt for working Americans like you and me. Representative Ilhan Omar just asked for a serious follow-up from President Biden on the public information that he previously requested from Education Secretary Miguel Cardona regarding his legal authority to cancel student loan debt. Omar and other lawmakers asked that the information be released to the public by October 22nd. They also said that the clock has been ticking, with over 6 months having passed since that interview, where White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain said that the administration was looking to produce a memo on Biden's legal authority on the issue. We've only got 4 months until the memorandum on student debt payments expires. Bottom line, they wrote, the time has come to release the memo and deliver on your promise to cancel student debt. Biden has also yet to fulfill his campaign promise on student debt cancellation. He said that said he would eliminate student debt for borrowers who come from a family making less than $125,000 a year and went to a public university. It was October last year when he said, you get all these degrees and you get all this debt and you get in a position where you can't get a job because no one is hiring or they're hiring at very low wages. I'm going to eliminate your student debt if you come from a family making less than $125,000 a year and went to a public university. Biden also previously stated he was prepared to write off $10,000 in student loan debt, though many in his party have called on him to cancel up to $50,000 in student loan debt. And the biggest name on the student cancellation list, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Just last month in a virtual summit on student debt, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer renewed his call for President Joe Biden to cancel student debt through an executive action. Now, Schumer's exact words, with the flick of a pen, President Biden on his own, without any congressional action or approval, could provide millions upon millions of student loan debt borrowers with a new lease on life. It would free these Americans to finally buy that house, save on the kids' education, get going on a small business, or going into the profession that they desire. It could unleash a wave of economic activity missing from our country today. Definitely sign me up for that one. Anybody here still paying on their student loans? Drop me a quick comment below. Now, on an even bigger scale, Representative Ilhan Omar recently proposed the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act. Simple enough, the bill would institute a nationwide cancellation of rents and home mortgage payments through the duration of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, we're keeping an eye on this one together with the mega House resolution to end poverty. There's also debt cancellation in that one, on top of recurring stimulus checks in the form of cash assistance programs. Now, aside from that, they also want a minimum wage increase, expanded unemployment insurance, affordable and public housing, and free education. Like I keep saying, guys, poverty is a policy choice, and so is stimulus. And that's why we're here, to make sure that all this stimulus policy does happen here on our channel. We'll keep an eye out on all the programs on our stimulus watch list. All you gotta do is keep tuning in for our future videos and updates. And if you guys want to catch up on all the stimulus excitement, I definitely recommend checking out our channel playlist section. Debt cancellation, Social Security, and of course, the fourth stimulus check, all your stimulus favorites all in one place. So check that out right after this video. We'll definitely have more coming to you soon. So that's it for today's fourth stimulus check update and daily news update. The House just voted on the debt ceiling raise. Democrats want to get rid of the debt ceiling altogether. Some other debts that they're looking into, like the student loan debt and even rent and mortgage forgiveness. And for our big finish, how Big Pharma is trying to get away from paying their debt to the country. And again, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, and an even bigger thank you for always lighting up the like button. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.